All right, I know the last video was a little long. It actually was the longest video you've done so far. So tonight's will be a little shorter. And since it's not as long, I'm going to start out with some math humor and see if you can figure out the answer before tomorrow. So the question is, why did your mother and father do your algebra homework? So the first person that can email me on Schoology with the correct answer will get a small little treat. Okay, so email me on Schoology, not my school email. So first thing is you have to follow the directions. It has to be on Schoology, not my school email. And then the first person with the correct answer will get a small treat. Okay, let's go on to Introduction to Parent Functions. Today, I just want you to be able to graph and identify the parent function based on a table of values and to describe the transformation. So we're going to start out. I would like you to fill in the missing cells in the table below. This would be a good time to put the video on pause, fill out the table, and then turn it back on, and I will show you what the correct answer should be. Okay, so put it on pause. Okay, now double check your answers here because you will be having a Schoology lesson check on this, and you need to make sure, and they may or may not be in order, and you need to make sure you're able to identify all of them. The family name, the rule, and the graph. All right, let's move on to finishing up section 1-9. And what you're going to need to be able to do is you will be given a table of a graph that has been, a parent function that has been transformed, and you need to write the rule for it. So there are some steps that you need to follow in order to do that. The first thing is that you need to identify the parent function name. And in order to do that, you'll probably need to graph it. So once you graph those points, so go ahead and graph the points. I also, after I graphed, which is in the pencil or the gray, I could tell that it was quadratic. So I'm going to write quadratic down here. And I just took a little time to also graph the parent function so I could see what was happening with the parent function. I need to know, now that I know what the graph looks like, I know what the rule is. It is f of x equals x squared. It's not a very nice looking too. Equals x squared. Okay, now I want to try to figure out what's happening here. If I look at the y-intercept, I know it's not moving left, right, up, or down, so I know it's not going to be a translation. And when I look at the difference from we're starting with, whenever you look for a transformation, start with the parent function and figure out what's happening for it to get out to the new function, or the transformed function. So, if I look vertically, if I take that red and I just press down here, or compress, what's going to happen is it's going to flatten out. This red is going to flatten out like that. So that is going to be a compression vertically. It could also be, if I take this red here, I could stretch it horizontally. So it could be one or the other. Sometimes a vertical stretch can appear like a horizontal compression, and a vertical compression can appear as a horizontal stretch. So if there's no adding or subtracting, it could be one or the other. When the addition or subtraction is included with that, then it makes it a little clearer to identify which one it is. So once you identify the parent function, you're going to take the points from the graph and compare them to what the points would be for the parent function. So let me show you what I mean by that. The original table has a value of, I just picked 2 points, and you can pick any of the 2 points. I just picked from the table, let me pull it down a little bit here, I picked 2, 2 and 4, 8. So that's my original table values that I was given. So I want to pick the parent function, and I want to see what's happening to values. How did they change from their original parent function values to here? So what I would do is, I know that the parent function that I'm using is f of x equals x squared. So now I know I need to look, how does this point differ from this point? Well, the x's are the same in both of these. And the y's are what changed. So I know it's not going to be a horizontal, and but the y's are changing, so it's going to be vertical. I also know that the 0, 0, or the y-intercept stayed the same on both of them, so it's not going to be a translation. We didn't move the entire function left, right, up, or down. I also know that the shape of the graph changed. So the parent function, I'm going to list the points 2, 4, because if I substitute 2 into here, I'll get 4 for y. If I do f of 4, I get 16. This is what I end up with. When I compare them, I'm putting one right on top of the other one here. So x has stayed the same, and you need to figure out, well, how do I get from 2 to 4? Whatever I do there, I also have to be able to do here. So we could say, well, we're dividing by 2 here. We're also dividing by 2 here. So we go from 16 to 8. So dividing by 2 is the same as saying multiplying by 1/2. So we are going to answer the questions over here. Which coordinates changed? The y coordinate changed. How did they change? We can see they're by half or dividing by 2. And so we're going to identify the transformation. Well, if we write out that parent function, it's f of x. Well, that's not a good place to put it because that's identifying the transformation. We know that f of x equals x squared is the parent function, and I need to multiply by 1/2. So that's going to be a vertical because it's affecting the y. And because it's in between 0 and 1, it's going to be a vertical compression. And then we can say by a factor of 1/2 because that's the number we're multiplying by. So let's write the rule. The rule is f of x equals 1/2 x squared. And you should be able to go back to the table and just be able to look at what all the parent function values would be for y. So this is f of x equals x squared. When I take -4, square it, -2, square it, 0, square it, 2, square it, 4, square it. And then if I would divide all these by 2 or multiply by 1/2, I should get this. So 16 times 1/2, 4 times 1/2 will give me that, and so on. So then you know that you have the correct rule. All right, last thing I want to do is to give you some steps to follow for the your turn, or you try it section of the notes. And I'm just going to leave these here for you to copy down if you're not sure of the steps that you need to take. And then you can finish up with your turn.